My name is Christophe Cordonnier. I'm the team leader of the Climadapt EBRD Climate Investment Fund project. And the technical assistant component of the project is implemented by the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management from Germany.
Thank you, Christophe. And to begin with, could you maybe say a little bit about some of the impacts of climate change that Tajikistan is experiencing and will continue to experience without resilience projects like this and reduced greenhouse gas emissions?
Well, Tajikistan has been highlighted negatively as the country most exposed to climate change in former Soviet Union countries for two reasons. First, because it depends massively on water resources, both for agriculture, which is not possible without irrigation, and 92% of water resources in the country are used for agriculture, but also for energy, as the vast majority of power plants here are based on hydroelectricity. Until recently, it was up to 98% of electricity was generated by hydroelectricity. So basically, the climate change has a very strong impact in terms of change in the precipitation pattern, in terms of accelerating melting down of glaciers, and therefore the country is de facto very much exposed. The country is also very much exposed to climate change because its capacity to adapt to climate change has been until recently very limited. For instance, in the water sector, new technologies for the country, such as drip irrigation or sprinkler irrigation, which allow for savings which can be minimum 50% for drip, these technologies are just not known or very incipient. So basically, the combination of natural risk and of limited economic capacity to adapt translates into a very, very high climate resilience.
If you could maybe just outline the sectors of the Tajik economy that will benefit from Climadapt.
First of all, one very important element in this project is, which is a pilot project. The first time in the history of EBRD that they are financing water efficiency and sustainable land management on top of the traditional energy efficiency, which makes up to 30% of EBRD portfolio today. So one key element in the project is that it is very much targeting the productive sector. As part of the credit agreement between EBRD and the implementing financial institutions here, no more than 30% of credits will be disbursed for residential purposes. The aim is to first focus on agriculture, which accounts for 70% of the workforce here, and on manufacturing. And this is very important because in the current context of deep crisis, economic crisis of Tajikistan linked to the fall of remittances from Russia, which accounted for 50% of GDP some years ago, there's a need to change the economic development pattern. And by combining this change with climate change efficiency, we can achieve very, very substantial results for the population in their day-to-day life and in their future life because of better climate resilience.
And this is a project that works with local financial institutions. Could you explain what the advantages of working with local finance institutions is rather than just working through EBRD?
Well, I think that EBRD and our team in general, we believe in development. Development is development of local capacity. So EBRD could have financed many projects directly, especially of large scale. But in terms of outreach first, and in terms of capacity to empower local agents for change, to work with local financial institutions is a very good choice. And it is a choice which is not based only on theoretical concepts. We have experienced the efficiency of such a choice in a project I was in charge of previously in the field of agriculture finance, where by empowering local financial institutions, we achieved tremendous results in terms of efficiency in the process. So we believe that we need to develop local capacities. financial institutions, suppliers, awareness measures, in particular through NGOs for the population at large, and obviously build very strong local teams so that tomorrow, when the project is over, there's a large sustainability and replicability internally.
Absolutely. Well, that segues me on to my final question, which is actually, there's two parts to it. So the first part of it is what are your hopes for this project here in Tajikistan? And the second part of it is, do you think this project has the potential to be replicated and emulated elsewhere in the world? Can other developing and middle-income countries learn from this project?
Yes, this is a paradox of the choice of EBRD. Tajikistan is the poorest post-Soviet country. Its economy has grown substantially in the past, but still many challenges remain. So, to use Tajikistan as a pilot for a totally new concept is really a challenging choice. And we believe it is a right choice, as it was when we developed new technologies for agriculture finance some years ago with EBRD. Tajikistan is a small country with a capacity to learn which is quite impressive. And we believe that here we know that here we can get results that will be strong enough in a situation of crisis to demonstrate that this new approach of climate resilience finance can be replicated all over the areas where EBRD is working, so former Soviet Union and Mediterranean basin, with many countries very much exposed to climate change.